A very good morning and a hearty welcome to everyone. This is Shraddha Mishra, Ambassador of Change from GETI, Global Education and Training Institute, and I'll be the host for the live talk today. I would be honored to tell about that GETI is founded and conceptualized by Dr. Sunita Gandhi with a broad vision of disruptive education. It is one of the most premium training institutes of India. Under it, we provide two types of training. One is pre service training, where we train at outstanding teachers who wish to be aspiring teachers in future, and in the other, in service training, we teach trainers who want to be outstanding teachers in future. On these live forums, we conduct live detox where we invite bureaucrats, researchers, policymakers, entrepreneurs from around the globe to carry out with their varied educational practices and hence these endeavors. Under the broad vision of Dr. Gandhi, we are doing these endeavors. And today, this morning, I'm very privileged and thrilled to have with us on board Mrs. Praveen Singh, life coach and speaker of Hyderabad, Telangana. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am.
Thank you
Mrs.
so
Prav-
much, Shraddha.
Mrs. Mrs. Praveen Singh. She's an author, blogger, life transformation coach, and a speaker. She holds a master's from BITS Pilani and has over 20 plus years of experience in MNCs like Citicorp and Oracle. Her first book, Parenting Pie, Learn the Secret Ingredients for Teens, has been very well acknowledged and appreciated. Her series for teenagers called Teenager Diaries to understand and encourage the passion of the teenagers received many dollars. She has won many awards and accolades like Supermom, Most Influential Professional, Social Media Advocate, etc., both at corporate level and personal level. She has given many webinars and sessions on parenting, women empowerment, and life coping skills. She believes in giving back to society and is involved in regular social volunteering activities like focusing on education and training for kids and young adults. So, you have created benchmarks, ma'am, and there is so much and so forth to learn from you. Very
Thank you
warm
so much.
welcome. And
Thank
now
you
I
so
would
much.
ask you to please introduce your topic and then we can proceed with the presentation that you have prepared. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thanks, Shraddha. Thank you so much. And thanks, Getty. I know Getty is doing a wonderful job, I should say, because the current focus on education and training is something which everybody is trying to look forward to. And in this era of online education, I think Getty is doing wonderful things. I have been observing a lot of videos, a lot of activities that are happening, and I wish the best to Getty. So, coming to the topic today is EQ versus IQ. What's the secret for kids' success in life? This is a topic very close to my heart because in the current COVID times, we have seen that balancing our emotions and being in chaos all around and still trying to be peaceful is one thing which I myself have learned in the last 2 years, trying to improve my emotional intelligence day by day, and that is the reason why I have come up with this topic. And I feel that it's a very important that we articulate this even in the child's life as early as possible. So that's the reason. And let's look at what's the secret for kids success in life. Okay, so just to begin with, okay, what exactly do we mean by EQ? Or the emotional quotient is one of the measure of emotional intelligence. So what exactly do we mean? This is a terminology which has come up in the recent times, not something which we have heard about early, like IQ and all that. So emotional intelligence is defined as a person's ability to recognize one's emotions, understand oneself and understand what feels good, bad, and how to get from bad to good. Most of the times, we don't even acknowledge the emotions that we are feeling at a particular time. We just feel dull, we feel, uh, enthused and all that, but we don't understand what exactly is the reason behind. We don't even try to see the root cause of those kind of emotions. So, understanding oneself is a very, very crucial item when it comes to emotional intelligence. The second aspect of it is being able to express and manage feelings appropriately. Most of the times, I know, there are introverts, there are extroverts, there are lots of people who do not like to express their feelings. But in and out, like, we have always observed that it is very good if you have something that is going on in your heart and mind, you should be able to express that. Okay, at least with someone who is close to you. And that is the reason we say, like, either you have a journaling or a daily activity, or you talk to yourself, or you just message yourself, but express it out. Those emotions should not be held back. The third one, once you start understanding your expressions, acknowledging those emotions, you should start understanding others' emotions. You will better understand things now, and you will be able to balance your behavior based on the situation. So there could be some incident that is happening at home, or in the society, or at workplace, or in the school, college, anywhere in your life. And once you start understanding what are those emotions that people around you are facing, you will start balancing those behaviors based on the situations. Now you're more aware. Okay. And the third one, as I mentioned, is referring to emotional management skills. These are very, very important in the current trend, and even corporates are looking at, leaders who have better emotional intelligence. They want leaders who are able, able to manage based on the situations, based on the crisis that the team is. So any leader who is a better emotionally intelligent leader, is scaling up the heights. uh, I mean, basically, it's kind of a difference between a manager and a leader. Like, only emotional intelligent managers can become good leaders, and vice versa doesn't work. So this is what we need to understand when we're talking about emotional intelligence. What are the criteria? Understanding yourself, expressing, being able to express yourself, either to yourself also, like, you are another person, look at it from that perspective. And then understanding others emotions around you, and then based on situations and understanding people, you are able to respond instead of reacting. Okay. The second most important thing is, where did this emotional intelligence suddenly pop out from, right? So the term emotional intelligence was created by two researchers, Peter Saloy and John Mayer, in their article in Emotional Intelligence. But this came, they coined the term, but it came into focus, into discussion after, Dan Goldman started using it in one of his books, and he started talking about it. That is when this came to popularity. So, if you look at a typical definition or a meaning of emotional intelligence, we can say that it is a capacity to reason about emotions and of emotions to enhance our thinking skills in any kind of situation. So, it includes ability to accurately perceive emotions, understand it, to access and generate emotions, so as to assess the thought process. You're trying to assess, like, okay, this is how the situation is, these are how the emotions are with respect to the people around you. So if I do something like this, what will happen? If I do something like that, what exactly happens? And based on that, you're able to reflect, and also you're able to promote emotional and intellectual growth. So there is a growth mindset, and you will be able to understand how exactly to respond to certain situations, so that in the long run there is some growth. Okay, so that is what is the typical definition. So the most important question that really bothers me, or rather, I mean, as I started looking at myself also, and started looking around, we see, it's a very important question. Are we giving the emotional intelligence education at home, school, colleges? Is it something part of the curriculum? Is it part of our regular lifestyle? Okay, this is something that has triggered me into even this topic, and that is the reason why I want to reach out to as many people, as many institutions as possible with this question: are we giving EI education at all? Okay, and the answer is no. Even though we have very, very few institutions, families who take care of this, most of it, if you try to generalize, the answer is no. So our education system, if you look at it, gives more stress, importance, and focus on IQ and not on EQ. Okay, because where will children start learning things? Like, IQ development happens at school, at home, everywhere. So where will we start teaching them? Unless we teach them as a subject or a course or a class in the schools or in the colleges, this will never happen, right? At home or in the educational systems, if you see, focus is more on teaching students how to score marks or succeed in life, get a job. get a good salary, but not how to handle emotions like frustration, anxiety, stress, failure, depression, burning out, inferiority complex, and ego problems. We always look at the brighter side and try to teach them that, okay, if you you do this course, you do engineering, you do medicine, this is how you get paid. You will scale up heights, you will have a good bungalow, good car, and then you will get good matches, you will get married, your kids are settled. But we never teach them that, when there are lows in life, when there are some burnouts, or when there are some failures, how exactly do you handle it? So we never teach them the other side of life, which obviously exists, right? When there is good, there is bad. When there are situations are good, there are definitely situations where you could be in a very low scale of your life. We don't teach them those life coping skills at all. We are never told to learn how to manage our emotions, how, while interacting with people, or when you're in a team, how are you coordinating, how do you show empathy, how do you communicate with people. All these we are never taught, right? We are expected to learn all this from situations that you go through. Maybe you never had such a situation in your life, and suddenly you face such a situation. How do you cope up if you haven't heard about it, if you haven't learned about it, right? So we are expected to learn all this from situations, or from our parents, peer groups, or whomever we consider our mentors or role models. Okay. And later stage of life, we are expected to be able to master this. Like, if you reach to a position of a higher grade in your office, then you are expected that you manage your teams well. When you get married, you have kids, you're expected that you're able to manage your family well, without actually being taught about how things go with respect to emotions in a group, right? So that is the most sad part of it. And uh, we have to face certain realities of life. They are sad, but definitely they are true. We see that, there are people, a lot of people who have very low emotional quotient, and this results in variety of behavioral patterns that impacts every area and every stage of life. It's not that, at a young age, or as you're growing up, or you get married and go to the family, or you're managing a team. So it could happen at any stage, any age. And we have seen that behavior of people with low EQ, it could be any of us, it could be even me. I am still learning. Okay, just because I'm taking this session doesn't mean I'm a 100% EI person. My score of EQ, if I take it, might be really bad. Okay, but my purpose is that, trying to get awareness on this front. So whoever has a very low emotional intelligence, low EQ, I'll try to use these terms interchangeably. Okay, always feels they are right. Okay, they always feel that, they are right. They are not bothered about others feelings, or rather we should not blame them, because of their low EI. They most of the times react as if they are not, they do not understand others feelings at all. We always say, right, see, he's not, I mean, look at the way he's reacting even in this situation. But he's not to be blamed. His EI has been low all through. Okay, then they behave insensitively, they blame others for their problems. When things are going wrong, they don't know how to handle it, right? They have always been taught how to handle good things, but when things are going wrong, they don't know how to handle. So, they try to pass on the blame to others. They'll have very poor coping or adjusting skills. I have observed, even at the corporate level, there are some people who always think they are right, and when it's a team deadline or a team delivery, they try to say that, I'm doing most of the part. What are the others doing? That kind of a thought process comes in, and it spoils the team spirit completely. The same thing is applicable in a school atmosphere, in a sports team, or even in a family, right? So, and this results in frequent emotional outbursts that, I mean, even I experience sometimes that, I just burst out. I can't take it anymore is what I feel. So I'll just scream out, or I just go and silently sit in a place, not talk to anyone. So these are the things that a low emotionally intelligent person feels. Okay. And then obviously, as I said, you'll start struggling with relationships both at home, at workplace, at schools, at, in your institution. And this slowly start, I mean, now what happens as a result of this, like, people start distancing from you. As an individual, when you start having those emotional outbursts, people think, okay, let's keep away from him, let's not mingle with him much. So you start missing out on those social skills, and you will start slowly getting into that depression mode. And most of the times I have seen when I've worked with a lot of teenagers and their parents, they say that my kid is going into depression, they no longer talk to us, and we are scared that they might attempt suicide. But what is the reason for that? The cause is the low EI, all through. So that's why I say, like, it's not their problem, it's your problem. You haven't introduced the concept of EI to them at an early stage. But nevertheless, at least try to be a good example. First, try to practice improving your EI, and then let them work on their emotions. Let them observe what you are doing, and then follow. Because kids most of the times, like, observe. You can never instruct them, you can just inspire them, right? So that is what is a sad truth. And now with the situation of COVID-19, we see that the mental health has, like, gone down the lowest, and people are trying to use all kind of workarounds, all the kinds of substance use. So if you see the COVID-19 pandemic and the resulting economic recession, like, people are losing out on jobs, not having salaries for months together. So the house is completely affected. So it has negatively affected many people's mental health, and created new barriers for people who are already suffering from mental illness. So just imagine, already people having these issues, and now the COVID-19 comes in situations with respect to online classes. You're working from home. I mean, maybe you're just working from a one room house, and people attending office classes, and then smartphones, then you don't have the bandwidth of Wi-Fi. So much of chaos going on, and just people will just break out at that time. And what the research also shows is the mostly impacted people, the data shows that the majorly affected are the young adults. And that is what is my concern. My concern are those young adults who are going to be the future of our country, or the future of the world. Those people are the mostly affected group with respect to the mental health. So now, obviously, people will start asking, so what are you saying? Like, you're talking EI. Okay, can that be taught at all? Okay, that is a question that will come up with to everyone, right? As a mother, even I would ask the same thing if somebody else is presenting this. And the good news is, yes, yes, emotional intelligence can be taught. And while we start early to develop emotional intelligence among kids, the good news is that we as adults also can upgrade our emotional skill at any stage of our life. Okay, because as we grow, we are adding experiences, and these would have taught certain lessons to us already. So understanding and upgrading of EI becomes easier even for us. Same is unfortunately not true for intelligence quotient, because most of the times we feel that our brain development stops at a certain age where we can where we have the grasping power, right? So definitely EI is something you can start working on from today. Okay, and at the same time you can start including that and introducing that concept to your children at a very very early age. Okay. So, what are the tips to start teaching at an early age? Help your child be aware of emotions. Most of the times, when the kid is crying, or yelling or screaming, instead of trying to understand the emotion, we try to react. Hey, chup baitho, don't talk. Okay, just go there and play with your friends. Maybe they are trying to grab your attention because they are going through something. Okay, so most important thing is just talk to them and ask them, like, what exactly are they feeling. Okay, then at the same time, when you're introducing emotions to them, a kind of a self awareness, also practice reading emotions in others. Okay, for example, while we are watching a movie together, maybe with kids, right, or witnessing an incident on the road, um, try to reflect on those emotions along with the kid and ask them questions. So what do you think, like, why is this person angry? What is the reason for it? What exactly is the emotion that he's going through? So just talk it out with the kid and try to reflect that, try to read that. Okay, and then reflect on how your child has reacted in the past. So the same emotion, you remember that that day when something like that happened, what exactly happened? Because at that point of time when that incident would have happened, maybe you're not in a conversational mode with the kid. The kid is really upset. They wouldn't try to sometimes be aware of any emotion. They will just react, or they just burst out. So maybe when you are observing a similar kind of emotion that is happening on some other uh, person, you just reflect back and, like, just say, like, what could you have done better, or what was wrong? Was there some mistake that was done by us? How do you want us to respond when something like that happens in the future? So that reflection is also important, right? And then come up with new strategies. Try to be creative. um, uh, like uh, Next time, mama gets angry on you when you want that, you go and write up on the board, like, +1, mama, or -1, give me -1 marks, or put a tick, or stick something on my laptop saying that, you're a bad mom. And then it's kind of a warning signal. So try to be creative, come up with ideas, so that they are able to express their emotions in a different way. Like, they would love to do that, rather than come and say something. Maybe they'll just come and put a sticky note somewhere saying that, okay, -1, okay, you're not listening to me, or add up those negative points, and then give a score towards the month, or month end, or towards the week. Okay, so do some fun stuff with them. That is one thing which works very well, especially with the younger kids. Like, they like to have things in a funny way. And then find ways to help others together at every possible opportunity. For example, like, a kid comes from the school and tells, this is what happened, this is how my friend reacted, teacher told like this. Just see, like, do you think, like, you should talk to him or her about it? This is the emotion that is going on. Do you think in any way we can actually try and help your friend? Like, some friend of yours, you want to help out, do you want to talk to them? You know what, you just go and ask her these questions. Try to be empathetic. The next time it happens, is there any way that you can help? Something like that. Like, find ways to help others together. Try to be together in such situations. And of course, explore options, like any volunteering activity, or if there is a social gathering, uh, or a voluntary activity. For example, I remember having taken my daughter to a blind school. Okay, where and just showing her that, even though they do not have their vision, okay, they were all so cool. And we served lunch. It happened as at a cooperative, and we all served lunch to them. The way they were eating is as if, like, they were able to see the food. Okay, and so much of gratitude they had towards all the volunteers who had come and spent time with them as part of games, and so chilled out, with not much tension at all. They love to listen to stories. So all these kind of activities actually help your child. I know, like, a lot of us, like, try to do away, like, giving them gifts and try to keep them away so that you are able to work peacefully, give whatever they want. But all those things are not going to help them in a longer run. Those are all very short lived. You buy a smartphone, it's outdated in a few years, right? You buy a game, something else comes up. Instead, give them these volunteering activities, something to cherish, some moments, travel with them. Let them look at many things where they can fall back and say, okay, fine, okay, fine, okay, studies are not working out for me. I have already learned guitar, maybe I'll just, I have another part. So give them many options, teach them, like, a sport, an instrument that, they can fall back on, some stress busters, like, I love dancing, I love music. So if there is something, even at this stage, if I am really angry, I just put on my earphones and listen to music, and then I calm down. I just need those, pep up Bollywood numbers, and I imagine dancing, and then I calm down. So that way, some people like love playing instrument, guitar, veena, or whatever. They just go into their space, and they start doing that. But if they do not have those kind of stress busters or something like that, they can fall back on, that's when they start getting into this depressive mode. Okay, so definitely EI can be learned at very early age. Try to inculcate that as part of your life at home. I would recommend the same thing even with teachers. There are a lot of schools who actually take care. For example, my son has something called a life skills class separately, and I appreciate Slate the school for that. Institutions should start having a session on life skills right from a very, very early age. So what are we talking about here? So we are saying awareness, practice, reflecting back, innovation, helping, and volunteering. Okay, so these are the things that we can actually focus on when we are dealing with the young kids. Okay, now let me introduce you to the current focus everywhere in educational institutions, corporates, homes. We are talking about social emotional learning. It's not academic learning anymore. This is called cell, okay, and it's not academic learning anymore. So what is cell? Actually, it's a process through which children and adults acquire and effectively apply the knowledge, the attitudes, and skills necessary to understand and manage emotions, set and achieve positive goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain positive relationships, and make responsible decisions. Okay, so if you look at cell is where it's applicable everywhere. It's applicable at homes, communities, schools, classrooms, corporates, everywhere. And what exactly does it consist of? It consists of awareness, management, responsible decision making. Okay, based on a situation, what exactly I need to do instead of taking a decision right away. And all these things will make you really socially aware, and obviously you're building your relationship skills. So if you see, like, the growth and success is going to come in as and when you start improving yourself. Okay, and we have seen, like, there are many examples where we see that people with high EI bounce back in life, and we always wonder, like, how could this person, like, uh, develop so much quality of resilience, we I mean, because most of the times, people who have low EI, either, like, we have heard of a lot of suicides, a lot of people going into depression, taking medical help. uh, so life is going to definitely throw all sorts of things at us. And if you see the same situation, if thrown at one person, the way person one responds to it is totally different to the person two who responds to it. For example, really love talking about this example, and I'm sure this is one example which where everyone is talking about. Okay, so who is she? She is Malvika Hegde. Okay, and if you remember that unfortunate incident a few years ago, uh, where her husband Vijay Siddhartha, like, Cafe Coffee Day is such a very, very big you know you call it corporate, or you call it a business, which which kind of scaled heights, starting from one uh, outlet in Bangalore. It went to thousands across India, right? And of course, there was a lot of pressure because of deaths. But the decision of taking his own life uh, of Siddhartha ji, with due respect to them, I'm sure, like, he went through a lot of stress, a lot of things, but that decision of giving up on life, came really, really, uh, shocking to his family. And a lot of people, a lot of ladies who, even though are involved in the business, when some situation like that comes, they try to give in to the situation and just close out. But this lady, Malvika Hegde, if you see, like, with her dedication, commitment, and strategic decisions, in 2 years, total debt on CCD was reduced from 7,231 crores to 1899 crores. You know, Amazing, isn't it? Just amazing. I mean, the kind of emotional intelligence that she had helped her, like, bounce back. You know, most of the people with high EI have that resilience. They can really face those obstructions in life and still act and behave normal. And we have seen many cases when businessmen are running away to other countries to avoid repaying the debt. She does. She set a really, really strong example of owning the commitment and then self confidence and bouncing back. And that's when the growth mindset also comes in. So I'm sure, like, this is just one example which strikes to me really well. I mean, what are the other examples that you know? Just look around. Like, it need not be a very, very big personality. For example, for me, the immediate person that I can look around with a lot of good EI is my grandma and my mother-in-law. I mean, they are people I have seen, like, in spite of situations, they are very normal. They just get adjusted to the situation as it happens. I mean, there are no emotional outbursts, and I still get surprised looking at them. I mean, there is a situation, yeah, maybe they react to it or respond to it, but the next hour or the next day they are quite normal. They just go back to the routine and do things, whatever have to be done. Not everybody is like that. So that is a, I mean, if you look at it, the previous generations had a lot of EI, maybe because they have been brought up in those kind of situations and those kind of families, joint families, where they had to develop EI. Uh, they developed EI based on the situations, watching the elders. But now with independent families, and so much of stress on education, people seem to be losing out on EI. Okay, so here I just wanted to tell you, like, what are the exact benefits of emotional show what exactly happens when those qualities of emotional intelligence come in. So if you see, high EQ is linked to high IQ as well, most of the times. This vice versa doesn't happen, but if you see, a lot of people who have high EQ kind of also are interested in developing their high IQ. Okay, and obviously we are talking about improved physical and mental health as well. A person who is happy from within, who knows about their emotions, will always focus on their physical and mental health as well, which kind of uh, aggravates even in the families. It kind of passes on, like, that aura passes on to the family members as well, because of which there are better relationships. Okay, and if you look at an example, even the research and studies have shown that, and I can also vouch for it. Childhood EQ is linked to higher success during adulthood. Okay, it's not just the studies. Concentrating on the EI of the child, having a very, very strong EI during the childhood, you see that those children are able to face any kind of situation in life. I still can't forget that incident of suicidal deaths of students, when there was a mistake in corrections in Telangana Intermediate Board. Of course, I mean, some of them were right, some of them were wrong, but we saw deaths in students as soon as those results were announced. There were some corrections later on, but the kids were not there. And this happened across families, poor, across geography, across the social status. So even the rich students or the poor students. So this is something which brought me into this line of educating the adults. I mean the young adults, because those emotions have to be very very strong, irrespective of whatever is the situation. You should be able to bounce back. Okay, yes, you will be down. I mean, obviously, when there is some situation at home and when something is happening here, I can't be cool and say, okay, fine. I mean, I just screamed and said, just keep quiet. My session is starting. I do that, but at the same time, I know, like, how I need to react after the session. I need to go and apologize, maybe, okay, or they understand what is the reason why of my outburst, because they understand my emotion better at home now. And the same way I also will understand. So being mindful and living in the present, you don't try to run away to the past and feel sad and sit and say, okay, this, what, this is what happened, this is what my parents did with me, or this is what is going to be my future. No, you will start living in the present. You will say, okay, today is my day, how can I make it better than yesterday? And don't worry, not worrying too much about future. Okay, let's see, I'm trying my best and let me leave the rest. So these are the kind of benefits of emotional intelligence. And when we now, since we're talking so much about EQ, people will say, what are you, like, why are you pushing so much on IQ? I mean, EQ, when we have always been focusing on IQ. So if you look at IQ, it's a measure of your ability to solve problems, use logic, and grasp or communicate complex ideas. But if you see EQ, it's a measure of your ability to recognize the emotion in yourself and others and to use that awareness to guide your decisions. So, how you react, you have the data based on IQ, you have the statistics based on IQ. Okay, you know that based on this situation, I am supposed to do this way. But when you have good EQ and you know the surroundings, maybe the situation in the team is not like that, things have gone wrong with this respect to this particular team member, some member in the family of employee one is not well. So I need to act like this is what is strategy one. But the strategy two is that maybe I need to make certain amendments based on the situations. That is where the EQ helps. So even if you are a very very high IQ person, if you do not have the EQ based on situations, your reactions will be really bad, and people will never be able to relate themselves with you or with your decisions. Okay, even though if it might be for the benefit of the team or whatever it is. So the same is applicable even at the school, among the teachers, among the family members. So if you look at the research, right, IQ can help you to be successful to the extent of 20% in your life. Okay, this is not something which we knew earlier, even before the term of EQ came in. We just thought, okay, some people succeed in life, some people don't. But why, we never tried to analyze. And the rest of 80% succeed depending on their EQ. So if you look at it, like, 20% is IQ in life, okay, and 80% is EQ. Yeah, maybe most of it, I mean, I'm not talking about a job career here, I'm talking about life. Okay, success in life overall. So let me just show you this really beautiful video that came on WhatsApp a few days back, and I just loved it. So let me play it, and Shraddha, just let me know if you're able to hear the voice or not. Okay,
Yes, ma'am. It's audible.
thank you.
मैं अनम्यूट करना भूल गई। हेलो बैच ऑफ 2022। वैसे ये तो हमारा ऑफिशियल नाम है, अनऑफिशियली हमें कोविड बैच भी बुलाते हैं। बट आज हम सब पास हो रहे हैं एंड थैंक यू टीचर्स एंड स्टाफ हम सबको झेलने के लिए, वो भी ऑनलाइन। ऑफ कोर्स दुनिया तो यही कह रही है कि अरे ये लोग पास हो रहे हैं, ना कभी स्कूल गए, प्रैक्टिकल एक्सपीरियंस जीरो, रिपोर्ट कार्ड में क्या लिखोगे, अचीवमेंट्स बस पड़े रहे 2 साल घर पे। दुनिया ने तो हमारा रिपोर्ट कार्ड लिख दिया, पर दुनिया ये नहीं जानती कि हम क्या लिखेंगे। मैं लिखूंगी पे कट्स हुए, फिर भी मेरी फीस पूरी भरी गई। माँ को एक सेकंड भी बैठे हुए नहीं देखा ताकि मुझे ऑनलाइन क्लास के बीच उठना ना पड़े। पापा को ऑक्सीजन सिलेंडर से सांस लेते हुए देखा, पर सभी पापा को यही चिंता थी कि मेरी केमिस्ट्री की पढ़ाई ठीक से हो रही है या नहीं। जब पूरी दुनिया को पता नहीं था कल क्या होगा, हमारा फ्यूचर सिक्योर करने के लिए हमारे पेरेंट्स ने कोई कसर नहीं छोड़ी। और ये जो हमने इनसे सीखा, ये कोई भी टेक्स्ट बुक नहीं सिखा पाती। बड़ी से बड़ी मुश्किलों से बाउंस बैक करने का ये टफ चैप्टर आज हम सब प्राउडली आगे बढ़ सकते हैं, क्योंकि आप हमेशा हमारे साथ डट के खड़े रहे। एंड इसीलिए आपको हमारे जैसा बैच कभी नहीं मिलेगा। थैंक यू।
So, if you look at this, right, that particular girl, you know, has seen situations, has understood the emotions of the family. Okay, and that's the reason why she's able to say that, we have seen the worst of the situation during the COVID, and after that, we can always bounce back to any other situation. So, what exactly? I mean, should I reveal the final secret? So, according to me, the final secret of success is, you know, success is a combination of both IQ plus EQ. Education is required, definitely required, for the sake of acquiring knowledge. But at the same time, EQ also matters a lot to face the situations of life, because tomorrow what's going to happen, no one knows. Whatever you learned definitely will help you in your career, in your growth. But if you do not know when and where to apply and in kind of what situations, then definitely you're not going to succeed in life. Okay. So if you look at it, right, I mean, according to me, academics, behavior, and the social emotional learning that we are talking about, the self, makes a complete child. So when you are focusing on the academics, also give equal or more importance to their behavior as well as their emotional learning. And then there is no doubt that the children are going to succeed in their life. And that is what I just wanted to conclude on. And thank you so much, and I think it's time for some discussion. So Shraddha, do you want me to stop sharing?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much for such an insightful session, and I must say, an emotional one too. We actually learned a lot in these COVID times about how practical life is, and thank you for throwing light on such an important topic and a session on it. We are really
thank,
grateful for it.
Thank you so
I
much, Shraddha.
I would just ask a question, a very small query for the child, for a small child who's in his growing years. How should he manage the difference and the similarities between EQ and IQ?
No,
How
they
would
will
you
not know. They will not
like?
know that difference. They will
Okay,
never know that difference until they
yes.
grow up.
Huh.
Even I, learned this only in the recent times. So definitely they will not know. And that is when they need a hand holding from the parents.
Okay.
And that is why I'm saying, it's very important as educators, I mean, the teachers who are the second parents, right?
Yeah.
And parents at home, to sit and talk out when there is an emotional outburst in the child. Maybe the kid is, kind of crying out for something, or the kid comes from school, is upset, throws the bag and just walks into the room. We think that, okay, fine, we kind of curse the child and say, okay, she always behaves that way. But maybe some incident happened at the school or the college, or she is upset about something, or she is worried about something. So most of the times it's better to talk it out and say, what's going on. And and try to avoid giving advice most of the times. Okay, try to ask relevant questions. So what do you think, like, is there something that I can help you out with, or how would you come out with it? So, or if the child is not in the talking mode at that time, just relax, chill out, but at least be aware that something has happened. Try to check on what exactly happened, maybe at a later point of time, or do some activity where the child comes back to their comfort level. Like, maybe the kid loves to watch movies, just switch on the TV. Because of the sound of the TV, they will come out of their room, or put on their favorite something, or make something for them quickly which they love, and then start talking. Always have that communication channel open.
No, it's actually teenagers who don't put up their problems and their, basically, we'll say their personal problems and all the growth they are going through to their parents. So, what you advise to them as being teenager? How should they maintain and at the same time discourage to, encourage to break that generation gap, basically?
You are asking advice to the teenagers or to the
Yeah.
parents?
How should they open up and discourage this gap?
Yeah, okay. When it comes to the parents, if you see, right, most of the times, like, things go wrong at the teenage years because of things which didn't go right during the earlier times. Okay, so that's the reason why I'm saying anything that we are supposed to do, we should start early. But when it comes to teenagers, definitely you want to put your opinion across. And unless you put your opinion across, you cannot judge and say your parent is wrong, right? Even with your friends, when you're discussing and sitting out with friends, not everyone will agree to what you want to say. Okay, put your, I mean, have a discussion. Never try to close in the communication channel. Discuss it out, and further, if they're not able to understand, give them different options. Say that, mama, I want to go to that party, but you know what, I know that you want me to be safe, so can papa drop me and pick me back? I'll be back by 11 o'clock. Start asking for things, putting conditions, or which they would be really happy to agree with, and then check out their reaction. When you say, okay, I have to go to my friend's party, I'm going, I'll come back tomorrow morning, maybe they might not agree. Immediately there'll be a no. Instead, try to put it in a different way, and always try to express, a family, irrespective of whatever it is the best source of support. Family and friends, and most of the times when that support is missing at home, you try to reach out to outsiders, and you never know how those people are. And that's the reason why it's very important for parents to make sure they have a communication channel at home. A very light conversation at home, irrespective of situations, and leaving things behind. So maybe mom had a very important board meeting, and now that online meetings are happening, maybe she screamed at you yesterday. Just leave things behind. You let things today be better. Just become normal. Come back to a normal situation every day. Leave things behind. Yeah.
Thank you for making my queries clear, ma'am, and thank you for such an insightful session. You drove back all the points, you knitted them so well that we are really grateful for you parting out time from your busy schedule. Your presence truly magnified our cause in the best possible way. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Shraddha. Thank you, Getty, and I wish the best to all the sessions and all the initiatives that Getty is taking. Yeah,
Thank you, ma'am.
take care.
Take care.